Привет всем, с вами я, Джейни, и это How Janie Learned Russian. Welcome back to day 4 of our semester that is going along with the How to Making Russian Cases Slightly Less Scary, my textbook that I wrote last year. I am so glad that you came back for more plurals. I know you were just thinking, this is amazing. I can't get enough of these plurals. I need to know all the plurals. So guess what? Today we are going to work on precisely that. So go ahead and get your thinking cap on because today we are talking about special plurals or irregulars, etc. We'll be covering pages 7 through 9 in the textbook. That if you don't know what textbook I'm talking about, oh, don't you worry. I'll plug it in here in just a second. And then, of course, we will do a big drill going from singular to plural, etc. So today is kind of the grand finale of plurals. Real quick, as promised, let's review what we covered yesterday, which was the 7-letter spelling rule. Okay, so off the top of your head, what are those 7 letters that you cannot write after? You have to write E instead. Okay, so I'll give you a second to think of them, and then I'll start giving you some hints. Okay, 3 of them are produced in the back of your throat. K-g-h, k-g-h, and the hushers. Do you remember what the hushers are? Sh, sh, zh, ch. Sh, sh, zh, ch. And remember I told you about Greeks, how they can't pronounce any hushers. They don't have any of those in Greek. So just think all of those sounds that Greeks can't pronounce in Russian. I remember one of them was talking about the war in Tsetsnya, and I could not figure out what is Tsetsnya? What is Tsetsnya? And then I realized Chechnya. Oh, okay, Chechnya. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. To my Greek friends, they know I love them. Anyway, okay, so KGH, sh, sh, zh, ch are 7 letters, and again, a angel loses its wings every time you violate that 7-letter spelling rule. It will hurt a Russian's eyes to have to see those kinds of spelling mistakes, and you just memorize it of how to make those plurals. Okay, сегодняшний интересный кусочек информации. Our interesting fact of the day is this word that you have probably heard a million bazillion times, and it's probably one of the first things you learned in Russian. Ребята. Ребята, okay? So this is an extremely common word in Russian. It means guys. Like, ну что ж, ребята, пошли уже. Да? Ребята, давайте, ребята. It's like very, very common word. So here's like an old Soviet propaganda poster. Молодцы, ребята. Let's look at these other ones, these other memes. Ребята, вы лучшие, guys. You're just the best. Ребята, это прекрасно. Guys, that's amazing. That's awesome. Okay? Well, I'm about to blow your mind on this, okay? Are you ready? Baby animals in Russian. This is them and they're singular. So see if you can guess what animal this is. Котенок. Котенок. Isn't it the cutest little котенок? Ой, какой миленький котенок. Okay, so котенок. And to make them a plural, so that's a kitten. And now to make it plural, kittens, we go to котята. Котята. Okay? Тигренок. Oh, какой миленький. Тигренок. What animal do you think that is? What baby animal do you think that is? And then the plural is тигрята. So those are little baby tigers. Oh my goodness, the cutest. Next is слоненок. What kind of animal do you think that's a baby of? Слоненок. Слонята. Слоненок, слонята. Okay? What about, let's look at this one. Утенок. And what do you think? So утенок meaning a duckling. Just take a wild guess what you think the plural of ducklings is. It is утята. Okay. So, I don't know if you see where I'm going with this, but do you realize ребята is a baby animal plural? A baby animal plural. Ребята. Let's think. There's a word you have been saying all along that is the singular of ребята. Can you think what it is? If you are an only child in your family, you're a единственный ребенок. So when you're calling people guys, you're calling them like little babies. Come on, little babies, right? Isn't that cool? So over time, ребенок, the plural of ребенок has become дети, meaning children. But what's left over in the language is ребята. And you'll notice there is no singular of ребята. And it's because it would have been ребенок. So, okay, I hope I sufficiently exploded your brain for the day. And I hope I ruined that word for you. And now you're going to be that person. Anytime somebody says ребята, you're going to be like, знаете ли вы? Did you know that? Blah, blah, blah. All right. Okay. Enough of that goofiness. That's my dose of nerd for the day. We will go over here and work in the textbook. So here we go. This is страница номер 7, page 7. And we're going to be talking about some of these irregulars. Let me get my light going. Okay, so we'll talk. Okay, so this first section, and then this is all in the textbook. Oh, I forgot to plug it today. Oh my goodness. It's available over on Patreon on my shop, as well as by this point, actually, no. Yeah, guess what? My group classes are launching today. So there's more information about that over on Patreon, and they are free for the last 2 weeks of September, and then they start being offered at like a membership tier. But head over to Patreon and check all of that out. I can't believe I forgot to plug it. But I'm sure you guys are glad that I forgot to plug it, but head over to my Patreon for information on this lovely textbook that we're working in, as well as the group classes that are now available for all of you ребята. Okay, все, хорошо. Так, okay, so for these first couple of plurals, they're not irregular so much. It's just more of a kind of a weird thing that you're doing. So any nominative singular that ends in an ок, such as подарок, по-английски будет present, потолок, по-английски будет ceiling, предок, you usually hear this in the plural, so that's a hard one. But предок по-английски будет ancestor. Звонок телефона, например. So по-английски будет, like a ring, a telephone ring or something. Those are going to lose their o. And get really used to this concept in Russian, this thing called fleeting vowels. Vowels are not reliable in Russian, okay? They're like deadbeat parents, okay? They take off and you're like, wait, I thought you were in my life forever. No, they're only present in nominative singular. They're going to leave in all the cases. Again, do not get attached to these fleeting vowels. Don't get attached to ok endings. You'll end up brokenhearted. So the plurals of these are things like подарки, потолки, предки, звонки. Okay, so you notice we're not saying подарки. We don't say that. The o disappears. Подарки, потолки, предки, звонки. Вот так. Okay? Same thing is going to happen with things that have a yets ending. So most nationalities have this yets ending. Then we have other words like перец, отец, конец, etc. And that ye is going to disappear, and we're going to get a ц ending. Oh, notice the 7-letter spelling rule effect going on with подарки. We're getting e because you cannot write after k. But over here, we are getting because ц is not one of the 7 letters. So therefore, we can write e. So we have американец, перец, отец, конец. And they're going to go like this in the plural. Американцы, перцы, отцы, концы. Вот так. Okay. Then we have a whole subset of masculines, specifically masculines, that for some inexplicable reason, probably for the same reasons that we say mice and not mouses, talk to the manager of plurals, you got to talk to the global manager of plurals. So we're going to take a masculine singular, and then when it goes plural, it gets 2 things. It gets a and a stress shift. The a is stressed, okay? So, например, дом, по-английски house, plural будет дома, дома, okay? Город, по-английски будет city, in the plural, города, города. Лес, по-английски будет forest, plural goes to леса, леса. Вот, поезд, поезд, по-английски будет train, goes to поезда, поезда. Then over here, let's look at some more. Oh, that's crazy that such a common word like учитель is actually going to get an irregular plural. But guess what? It's the only тель word that does that. Преподаватель doesn't do that. Родитель doesn't do that. Again, talk to the global manager of plurals. I don't know what to tell you. Учитель goes to учителя. Глаз for eye goes to глаза. Паспорт goes to паспорта. Stool, and then notice how weird this one is because it also gets a mякий знак all of a sudden. Stool, meaning chair, goes to стуля. Вот так. Да, я не понимаю. And then, as I've mentioned in previous videos, and I mentioned here in the textbook, people and animal words tend to be weird because they're some of the most ancient words that the language does not like to change things that are part of your everyday life. It resists that very deeply. And so those irregular forms that were existing, 2,000 years ago, they've held on to it. So let's look at some of these people words that go plural, and you're just going to memorize them. So I will say them in English. I'll say what the word is in English. So while I'm doing that, you start thinking about what the Russian is, and then start anticipating what the plural is. Maybe you already know this off the top of your head, и поэтому вы молодцы. Вы молодцы. Ребята, вы молодцы. Oh, that's another one that gets that fleeting vowel. Молодец goes to молодцы. Все, okay. Так, первое слово daughter. По-русски дочь. Форма они будет дочери. Дочерей. Хорошо. Следующее слово. По-английски mother. По-русски будет мать. Форма они будет матери. Матери. Sister. По-русски сестра. Форма они сестры. Not to be confused with сестры, which also exists, but it's a genitive singular. So pay attention to that word stress. Вот. То сестра, сестры. Так. Жена. По-английски будет wife. Sorry, I messed up the format there. I pity the man that has to talk about his жены. I hope you don't have multiple жены all at once. I feel sorry for you if you do. But yes, жены. Жены. So жена, wife, wives, жены. Okay, over here, son. A son. This one is difficult. I feel bad for people who have multiple sons because this one is super weird. По-русски son будет сын. Uh-oh, get ready for the plural. Сыновья. What in the world just happened? Сыновья. I told you these were weird. Так, по-английски brother, по-русски будет брат. And then форма они будет братья. By the way, if you are attending my group classes, we are watching, we base, on the intermediate level, we base our discussions and our activities on movies. And we are going to be watching film Brat и Брат 2 for our intermediate group classes. So if you haven't seen those movies, I highly recommend it. And if you're an intermediate speaker, go over and sign up for those group classes. It's a flat membership fee for as many classes as you can attend, and all of the materials are included. Okay. Следующее слово. Как будет по-русски? Friend. Друг. And then форма они будет как? Друзья. Мои друзья. Со мной мои друзья. И песенка моя, я. I sure hope everybody's listening to your playlist that I made. Okay, хорошо, следующее. There are this whole subset of nationalities that have this nin ending, and they get very irregular plurals. So, an Englishman, по-русски будет англичанин. Англичанин. And then get ready for the plural. It's super weird. Англичане. Англичане. Okay. Other nationalities that do this are Armenians, Armянин, Armяне. Religions, христианин, христиане, мусульманин, мусульмане, etc. Okay, now this one's crazy. Хозяин. Totally unrelated, like just insanely different word. Хозяева. Хозяева. So хозяин means like the host, your host dad, the man of the house, the landowner. It can mean kind of different things depending on what era the text is from. Okay, then we have words that are just totally different. Remember how I ruined the word ребенок and ребята for you forever? Well, there you go. There's our word ребенок, meaning a child or a baby. And their plural is a totally different word, дети. Okay, same thing is happening here with человек. There's no such thing as человеки. There's no such thing. There is люди. And guess what? That's not too hard to wrap your head around because we do that in English too, right? Person, people. So that's also irregular in English. Вот. Okay, guys, moment of truth. This is so exciting. Now we're going to pull it all together, okay? We are going to be pulling together gender plus neutrals, okay? Remember, when in doubt, adjectives don't lie, okay? So let's go through and do this exercise together. For those of you who are just listening, I'll say the word in English. You say it to yourself in Russian out loud. Again, be attracting as much attention as you can. And then you're also going to tell me это он, она, оно или они. This is a bit of a kind of review of everything we've learned hitherto. Okay, or heretofore. Вот. Okay, первое слово. Как будет по-русски friend? Друг. И это он. Хорошо. Следующее. Как будет по-русски space or place? Место. И это оно. Место. Следующее. Как будет по-русски big bed? Большая кровать. Большая кровать. Это она. Следующее слово. Как будет по-русски children? Дети. И это они, obviously. А как будет по-русски house? Дом. И это он. Как будет по-русски kitchen? Кухня. И это она. Следующее слово. Как будет по-русски dictionary? Словарь. И это... remember, if it ends in ар, мягкий знак, это он. Хорошо. Следующая фраза. Это... Как будет по-английски? My classes, my courses. Будет мои занятия, и это они. So that's one of those neuter plurals. Следующее слово, как будет по-русски teacher? Учитель, и это он. Хорошо. You guys might not know this one, but that's okay. So по-русски boy. По-английски это battle. И эндзенек. И краткое значит это он. Okay, next one. Как сказать по-русски my sons? Oh, that's a hard one. Remember I said I pity anybody who has sons. This is so hard. Мои сыновья. Мои сыновья. Следующее. Как будет по-русски present? Like a gift, a present. Подарок. И это он. Следующее слово. Как будет по-русски my uncle? Oh, this one's tricky because your adjective's going to do one thing. Мой дядя. Это он. Хорошо? Как сказать по-русски apartment? Квартира. И это она. О, окей. Как сказать по-русски peppers? Peppers. And it's okay if you don't remember this one off the top of your head. But it was affected by the fleeting vowel rule. So, перцы. Перцы. The original was перец, and then we make it plural, and it goes to перцы. Так что это они. Хорошо. Как сказать по-русски street? Это улица, и это она. Следующее. Как сказать по-русски word? Слово. 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 Хотя мы говорим слово, и это оно. Окей, следующее. Как сказать по-русски night? And I hope you were listening to what I told you about hushers followed by a мягкий знак, what gender they are. Это она. Ночь. Ночь. Хорошо. Следующая фраза. Как сказать по-русски red square? По-русски будет Красная площадь, и это она. Хорошо. Как сказать по-русски our passports? Our passports. Наши паспорта. Паспорта is one of those weird masculine plurals. То есть это они. Наши паспорта. Окей, как сказать по-русски last name, surname? Фамилия. Фамилия. That's not a neuter plural. Нет, нет, нет. Это она. Окей? Как сказать по-русски? It's okay if you don't know this one. Difficulty. Okay? Трудность. Трудность. What did I tell you about ость plus мягкий знак? What gender are they? Она. Гласность, трудность, специальность, национальность. Вот так. Как сказать по-русски my friends? Мои друзья – это они. И как сказать по-русски my girlfriends, like my female friends? Подруги, подруги. Отлично. Okay, хорошо. Now we're going to come down here and circle the letters that are affected by the 7-letter spelling rule. Do you know those off the top of your head? Okay, the 3 that are in the back of our throat. K, G, H. And the hushers. L is not a husher. Z is not a husher. C is not a husher. So we want sh, zh, sh, ch. Вот так. Okay? And then we're going to come down here and make these words plural. Anything that was affected by the 7-letter spelling rule. Okay? And actually, we'll make everything plural. Here we go. Behold my horrible handwriting. Here we go. Ручки. Ручки, affected by the 7-letter spelling rule. Книга, how do we pluralize it? Книги. Студент, how do we pluralize it? Студенты. There's nothing special about t. It gets the default. Sorry, you're not special, t. Муха, meaning a fly. That one does get E as the 7-letter spelling rule. Падеж. Oh, this one's easy. We just add a little E to the end of it because that's one of the 7 letters. Американец. This isn't affected by the 7-letter, but it does have the fleeting vowel. So it goes to Американцы. Американцы. Карандаш. Карандаш. Sh is one of the hushers. It's affected by the 7-letter spelling rule, so we write E. Rosa. Rosa. Okay, that's a feminine, so we're going to replace the final vowel. And Z is not special in any way. Sorry, Z, you're not special. You don't get special treatment. So this goes to розы, roses. Hot dog. I sure hope you know the plural of this. It's my favorite. Hot doggy. Hot doggy. Babushka goes to babushki because k is one of the 7-letter spelling, one of the 7 letters. Vrach, ch is one of the 7 letters, goes to vrachi. Борщ, ch is one of the 7 letters, goes to борщи. Вот так. Окей, хорошо. Это... Нет, по-моему, это не все. Okay, so this is our final review. Let's get ready. And this is going to be brutal. Are you ready? Okay, so what we're doing here is... Okay, moment of truth. Can you pluralize things? Can you pluralize things in Russian? And or can you undo a plural? Okay, so that's what this quiz is doing right now. Okay, so if I give you the singular, you give me the plural. If I give you the plural, you give me the singular. Вот так. Хорошо. Поехали. So I'm going to go through this. We're going to, for those of you who are just listening, try and, again, say these things out loud. So we went from машина goes to машины. Хорошо. Now we have ночи, already plural. The singular of it was ночь. Ночь. Хорошо. Слово, meaning a word. There's nothing irregular about this. This is just a neuter plural. It goes to слова. Слова. Хорошо. Суп. Doesn't sound like a plural to me. So the plural version of it is супы. Супы. Вот так. Кухня. Oh, я is special. Woohoo! Я is special. It's not one of the 7 letters, but it tells us that this N is soft and must remain soft. So our plural goes to кухни. кухней, кухней. Вот. Следующее. Сестры, сестры. What was the singular of that? Сестра, сестра. Next one. Матери, матери. That's a plural, so what's the singular? Мать. In fact, for those of you who know some Russian swear words, you might be familiar with this word. Okay, next one is площади, площади. Oh, E does not sound like a singular. What was the original? But something special had to happen on this for it to be getting an E, because the is not a 7-letter. Oh, it must have had a мягкий знак on the end. Woohoo, площадь. Красная площадь. Next, занятие. What do neuters do when they go plural? They suddenly look feminine. Занятия. Дочь. Irregular. Goes to дочери. Дочери. Брат. People word, it's going to be irregular. Goes to братья. Like братья Karamazovы. The book by Dostoevsky. Okay. Языки is plural. What was the original of it? Язык. Okay, next. Англичанин. Singular, what would the plural be? Англичане. Англичане. Okay, let's keep going over here. We can do it, we can do it. Хорошо. Предок. Ok. Oh, there's going to be a fleeting vowel. Don't get attached to that. Oh, it's not sticking around. Goes to предки. Предки. Next one, задание is the singular of задания. Okay, then here we have this word места. Места. That's a neuter plural. What was the original? Место. Место. Украинец. Украинец. Singular, plural is украинцы. Украинцы. Родитель ends in a мягкий знак. Мягкий знак has to turn into what when it goes plural? Has to turn into и. Родители. Вот так. Музей. Already plural. How do we make it singular? Музей. И with the hat. Друзья. Со мной мои друзья. And what was the original? The singular was друг. Друг. Подруга. Singular. The plural goes to подруги. And G is affected by the 7-letter spelling rule. Университет. Oh, nothing special about T. Nothing special. It gets the default. Sorry, T. You just get the default. Университеты. 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 Okay, люди. Remember, the singular of this was something totally different word, which is человек. Человек. Ребенок. Ребенок. No, the plural of it is not ребята anymore. Now the plural of it is дети. Дети. Дома. Already plural. Дома. What was the singular? Дом. And lastly, брат. What is the plural of it? We already saw it over here. Братья. Good job. Это все на сегодня. Увидимся на следующем уроке.